All right, David Parrish here again with another series episode of Who Runs the City. I'm here with my friend Ryan Shuping. Ryan, what's up, man?
How you doing?
So Ryan, in fairness, has already been running a gazillion miles this morning already, but we're going to jump in and run a little bit. Ryan, tell me a little bit about yourself, family life, just a little bit, and then we'll talk about kind of what you do a little bit after that too.
So we've lived in Greensboro for about 18 years. We moved here to be near my wife's family.
Nice.
And then I came here to teach, and so I've been in the state system for 18 years now. But as far as like classroom experience, 13 years, and then training teachers for 3 years. And then running's been kind of a journey through much of that.
So you were at times even a teacher to teachers.
Yes.
Kind of helping folks kind of in the classroom too. And you're in the classroom now, been in the classroom for several years now with middle school students
Middle school, was at Northwest and now at Northern Middle.
And you've been all over the system pretty much for those years, kind of variety of places too.
Yeah, especially when training teachers, it was maybe 30 schools I kind of at some time had gone in and supported teachers.
Here locally,
in
awesome.
In the county.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about running. How long have you been running?
So I ran when I was in high school, my junior and senior year, essentially because I wasn't good enough to play baseball. So I wanted to do something, and had a really positive experience with that with my coach. And toward the end of that, said that I always wanted to run a marathon. And then years later, we moved here and we got some friends, and they were signing up for the Outer Banks half marathon. And they asked my wife if we wanted to go. And so I said, I always want to run a marathon. So I just, August of whatever year that was, started training and then ran the marathon. And then that may have been like 12 to 14 years ago or so.
Wow. And have you run that marathon yet?
Yes, a number of them.
Number of them. Yeah. What's one of the cooler races you've done? Or maybe a couple of cool races you've done, run experiences you've done?
I've done a couple things, like I went to Myrtle Beach and ran 26 miles in the night, and then woke up and ran the Myrtle Beach Marathon. And then
so you did 26 and 26?
Yeah. And then I've done that here at the Massacre Marathon. I went in like Planet Fitness and ran 26 miles on the treadmill at like 3 something in the morning, then just went straight over and ran the marathon, the Massacre Marathon, it was called at the time. And then some of the things I've done are just like running a half marathon a day, every day in August for like 31 days, which is like 400 something miles, like stuff like that. Sometimes matters more to me than a race or time or something like that.
Yeah. Can I ask you your personal streak? How many days in a row have you run before?
So it is.
Or what's your record?
Yeah, so like July 11th was the start date of 2021, was when I decided I would run a 5K a day. And so actually it was like a 14-month streak before that, but I had surgery and had to start over. So the original streak was running a 5K a day. So July 11th, 2021, so that's probably just over 1,100 days of a 5K a day. The last 2.5 years, I've been focused on running 180 miles a month. So that's like my secondary goal. Primary goal, 5K a day. For the last 2.5 years, been running 180 miles a month, which is just under 6 miles a day.
We're not going to run a marathon this morning. We're just going to run through here. Tell me the significance of where we're at this morning. We're in Hamilton Lakes area, the trails here. Tell me the significance of this and kind of this, why here for you?
Yeah, so every morning before school, before work, or after school, after work, this is primarily where I run. So I run here basically Monday through Friday and Sundays, unless I have something somewhere else to be. But and then Saturdays running at the Greenway downtown. So I would just say I probably run the most miles here in the Greenway, but it's rising here because of the streak. I've done a lot of miles here.
What you got on today? I see ultras.
Yes, Lone Peaks. This is what I have grown towards wearing out here. Any ultra shoe is kind of what I've been to.
Yeah, you can see Ryan actually got me on ultra a while back. Ultras are really good. Do you like Brooks, Hoka's, or you running a little bit of everything, but ultra for now?
It's ultra all the way at this point. I've done Hoka's. That'd be my second favorite, but I just like the wide toe box from the ultras.
Anything else gear-wise? I know your hat's got some weather on it. Anything else gear-wise that's important for you?
Primarily the watch.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter as long as it tracks GPS.
Yep.
I like the Apple ecosystem, so that's what I go with.
Yeah, you make fun of my watch sometimes too. So.
It's time.
Let's talk about teaching. So you've done it for, you said 18 years in the system?
In the state, so 12 years, let's see, 14 years in the classroom, 3 years training, coaching teachers.
Any particular focus that you teach? Math?
I've done science and social studies probably the most at this point. Math is what I'm currently teaching. So I'm in my 5th year of math.
Awesome. Let's get our watches set. And then let's go for a run, man. What do you say? You ready?
We're always waiting on the GPS. Yeah, let's go.
Wait on GPS. All right, let's do it. Come on. You lead the way. So Ryan, you're teaching, and you run. You clearly run a lot, and you have a family. You know, what's the significance for you of running, especially as it relates to your career and balance with your life? Does it, like why running?
Yeah, I mean, primarily I like running just because it's exercise and activity. I've always enjoyed sports and just staying active. And then when I ran that first marathon, it just made me curious, which I think a lot of life is that, like just being curious about something and pursuing it, whether it's running or knitting or whatever it is that somebody's hobby is that kind of lights them up. But I think it just kind of has worked into my daily life.
What's something that, you know, as being a teacher, that clearly it kind of has found some passion, you found some passion in that and some juice for life, you know, like what about teaching that really kind of, similar to running, but what about teaching kind of motivates you or kind of keeps you moving? Like what about teaching draws you?
I think the good combo for me is that I enjoy working with the students and just building those relationships and making them felt seen. I definitely don't stand at my door and just kind of let the kids come in and don't talk to them. Like, you know, I'm actively saying hey to them. And I think the running kind of plays into that because when I first started teaching, it was, I mean, my honest perspective was like, this is just a job. Like, I'm just here to work 8 to 4. You know, I do my part and I tell the kids and it's up to them to get it. It's not on me. And just running like kind of shifted my kind of perspective on things of challenging myself to go further.
Yeah.
And the more I did that, the more it made me consider, but the more benefits I experienced and the more it made me consider like what else in life have I not been given myself to, and teaching was like a natural part of that process. And so anyhow, it just ended up spilling into family. Like, how do you have a better family life? How do you treat your spouse better? How do you treat your kids better? Have more patience? And man, you know, it's you grow a lot. Thankfully, you have time if you are blessed with the time to live on earth. Like, you have time to adjust and change and get better at things. And the relationship with kids is important to me because there's this educator, first name's Rita, I can't remember her last name, but she says kids don't learn from adults they don't like. And so that's got to be part of the process. And then just the art of teaching has really sucked me in. When I was training those teachers in Guilford County schools, it taught me how to articulate what it was to be a good teacher. I did have skills, but I couldn't have told you what it was that was working for me. And through that process, not only did I figure out how to articulate those things, but I learned a lot. And so then my kind of heart started bending towards getting back in the classroom because I wanted to apply all that stuff. And so now I'm just really on that path to, like, how do I become the best possible version of myself that I can be in the classroom to impact the whole child, academics and socially, just like my priorities. And I don't know that either one is greater than the other. It's just like that's my responsibility, is to that when they leave me, they know more, but that they felt more also in the relationships that we have, the culture that we build in our classroom.
That's awesome, man. Because I can remember back to the teachers I had. I mean, the ones that are the most memorable, honestly, probably were those people, like you said, that I connected with or I liked, and that I knew cared. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that was definitely like a driving factor as to, I swore I wouldn't teach for like 5 years and did other odd end jobs, and finally it was like, okay, like this is really what I need to do. And so when I went into it, my mindset was, I just want to do it justice and do it better than some of the negative experiences that we all tend to have with different teachers. And
so it's not just a job for you, it is really a calling.
Yes.
It's kind of where you find your passion.
Yeah.
On the other side of that, what is something that someone that maybe isn't a teacher, give me some insight. Like, what maybe is a challenge that wouldn't be the typical thing someone would think about? Like, what's hard about, being a teacher nowadays?
It is, I think what I tell my kids is like, this is possibly the only time in life where they'll be crammed in this tight of a room and have to work with this many people. And so it's important that like a teacher has to create a culture, not just like they're just not showing up and teaching a curriculum. They're there creating this experience for the kid and kind of navigating the discipline issues and knowing how to respond. It takes a lot of just intuition and just patience, and it's I'm just very sensitive to kind of how I speak to kids when I speak to them instead of just being on them.
It's a discipline.
Yeah,
that's just hard.
But I'm just thinking from the outside, there's a lot of counseling you do. There's just one-on-one private conversations you have. There's different life experiences that kids bring that sometimes are really difficult and tough. And so you just have to
personalities that they are, the individuals that they are.
Yes.
Their backgrounds, kind of what they're bringing that day.
Yeah, and there's such a wide variety of kids that the way they carry themselves, what their likes are. So yeah, you have to have a certain kind of skill set to successfully manage a classroom. And I believe all those skills are anything somebody could pick up if they want to. In the same way, if I want to be a plumber, I might be able to pick up those skills.
So we made it about a mile. We're kind of taking a break here. Again, you talked about the significance of this run for you. You've got a beautiful wooded area behind us here in the neighborhood where you live, here at Hamilton Lakes. This is a beautiful opportunity here, a beautiful lake. Again, this is about learning about the community, but also learning about the individuals who help run the community and contribute. Obviously, Ryan, being a teacher, is a very impactful member of our community, shaping the lives, impacting our community development. And community development, I've always felt like, is economic development. The kids you're working with now, will have jobs before too long. They will be adults. They'll be the ones who we interview for something like this. But it's about you as well. So, again, you have 3 kids. You and your wife chose to raise them here in Greensboro. You chose to raise them in this community, and you've made life choices. Obviously, you chose to be a teacher. Comes with that some sacrifices. I know you well. Ryan and I are good friends. Ryan's the reason I run a little bit more than I ever thought I would. But again, you chose this life. Tell me a little bit about the life. You and your wife have kind of decided to kind of how you want to raise your kids and why you want to raise them here, and the sacrifices you may have to make as a teacher.
Yeah. So I think for us, it was, our lives are all about quality of life and quality of family life, quality of just everyday moments that we have, and to make sure that we have plenty of those. So one of the choices we made is that my wife actually is on the other side of education by homeschooling our kids, and that was something that she was always passionate about. And so from the get-go, when we started dating and got married, we knew that that was the most likely path that they would take. With that means she has to stay at home. So I've only ever been the primary breadwinner. So we've been married 23 years, and starting out it was a 30-something thousand-dollar a year job. It's kind of gone up. Financially, it's always been like every now and then I picked up part-time jobs. Apple Store I worked for about a year and a half. And then, so I've pretty much worked every summer, pool jobs, stuff like that. But part of the sacrifice is like, well, the gift is that I get to teach. The gift is that I get to do what I'm passionate about, what I love. The sacrifice, which the gift outweighs the sacrifice, but like right now I've got 4 part-time jobs, right? Like, so I'm working, Grasshoppers just wrapped up, the baseball team. I'm working at Tanger. And then I have a part-time, just sporadic job with the bounce house. I worked that yesterday. I have a part-time sporadic job, 5K race timing company. I just worked that last Saturday. As an example, like this is an extreme example, but this next week I'm looking at teaching the 5 days, and then Tuesday through Sunday I'll pull off 30 plus hours at Tanger. So I know a lot of people work 70 hours, 80 hours a week, but they're probably making twice or 3 times as much as me. And the money's not what I'm after. It's just really quality of life that it'd be ideal just to not work throughout the school year. I can understand only being paid 10 months as a teacher. And I feel like am compensated very well during those 10 months. But the 2 months is that's the magic point of like what makes or breaks some people from leaving teaching, because it's 2 months of salary you got to make up somewhere else. But yeah, so that's part of the dynamic, I think, of being a teacher today, is that it's common to see other teachers doing other jobs to make things happen. And it's just something to keep thinking about.
Yeah. Well, Brian, thanks for the half of our run, or a little bit into more of half of our run. I know you've already done 6 or 7 already. We're going to wrap up and finish up this run, but we wanted to take a moment, just kind of take a break. I want to say thanks, my man, for what you do for the community, for teaching, for running, and for helping run this city. Let's go hit it, man. Let's finish it up. Now we're on the kind of really trail side of this run, aren't we?
Yes.
Do you run the trail side like this? Or do you stay like in the road, or do you do a little bit of both?
It's if I'm running it during daytime, then I stay on the trail. If it's at nighttime, I've got a path from my house that I'll run around on the road with a headlamp. So, especially like next week, I'll be running 5:30ish in the morning to get that done before school and Tanger, just because that whole streak, making sure that stays intact. But yeah, if it's dark, I don't like really running in shaded areas and whatnot, even though I think it's safe out here. So it's one of the neat things about running in here is the random animals you might see. Like this morning I saw a buck.
You did see
There was hey, thank you. There was some bizarre turkey that was up ahead on the right one day. I got a picture of it, it's just real grainy.
You saw a turkey down in here?
That's what I think it is. But it was a very distinct one.
Like a turkey cat? Turkey cat deer? Something.
Yeah, something weird. And then there's lately been turtles out. My daughter's been out here, the youngest. So her passion right now is coming down to the lake and catching turtles. There's this massive snapping turtle that was up ahead on the rocks. Like it had rained really bad, and so I don't know how it got down there, because now it's up back behind us in the main lake, but somehow it had to crawl over those rocks and water to get back.
Big old snapping turtle?
Yeah, like a 6-inch tail. I mean, it was, a shell, maybe 12 inches. Maybe, honestly, it was probably bigger than that. It was a massive deal.
It's a beautiful part of this trail too. You got the creek.
Yes. I know, and I do
Canopy.
find myself glancing at that as I run and just looking at the water levels from day to day.
Yeah. Because you're really down in here now, aren't you? Is it pretty crowded? I mean, as far as pedestrians go, pretty good traffic on it, you feel?
It definitely
just
gets
depends.
used, and there are definitely people I see on a weekly basis. Like I saw a guy this morning. It's funny because I'm running a totally different time than I normally run this trail, but we somehow still found ourselves on the same trail again this morning. But yeah, it's pretty.
Morning.
Good morning. It's pretty. It does stay pretty steady, of course, with the weather. Like you can almost predict it based on the weather. If it's dry and pleasant outside temperature-wise,
Yeah.
more people are out here. If it's raining, only the hardcore people or walkers and runners are going to be out here. Like I might see.
So when
one
you're
person.
streak, you're doing this almost like the Postal Service.
Yeah.
Rain, sleet.
Yeah.
Whatever,
running
huh?
Snow, cold rain. Also running like I had COVID and just other sicknesses over those 3 years. I was really beat up a couple months ago and was doing like 12-minute miles just to slug through it.
What do you normally run pace-wise, Ryan? Naturally for you, uninhibited with slow runners like myself. What do you naturally kind of run?
So I would say like a 9:15 pace.
Okay.
I'm capable of running faster, but some people.
Good morning.
When people ask me to kind of describe running, I say like I run to complete instead of compete. I just am, like my goal is just to complete these runs, right? Like I'm not really worried about the time. There was a time where I was worried about time, trying to finish a marathon in a certain time.
Yeah.
But I've never been super fast, just been steady at whether it's long training miles or number of days running in a row. I've been consistent with that end of the spectrum of running. So there used, I think we might have passed it, but there used to be a treasure tree. It's still there, but it used to have a sign on it, and people come and hide little toys for kids.
Yeah.
And actually, this is me. Is it up here on the left? So the tree died, and they ended up cutting it down. That kind of ruined a little bit of the magic because there was like a knot in the tree where people would hide stuff, but now they set random objects here. And
So what do they do here?
so we got different objects that people leave off. It's like, I don't know, fairies are dropping on. I think probably like some
So we got
older people in the neighborhood are.
Some little toys,
Yeah.
little knickknacks, some loose change, a little penny. Oh, look at the
Yeah.
look at the snail, the slug.
Oh,
Snail,
cool.
that's cool. All right, cool, man.
Nice.
Never know what you're gonna find when you run the community, man.
There's also as many as 2 watermelons. It's just a chunk of wood.
Yeah, we
painted
passed those earlier, didn't we?
Okay, I didn't notice
Yeah,
it, but
yeah.
people picked those. Somebody painted it and dropped it off, and then what happens is people pick it up and carry it to a new spot around the trail. So part of the,
The whimsical nature of like this trail.
yeah, it's just looking like, that's one of the things I'll do is kind of look out for where the watermelon is on a given day, just to kind of occupy my mind. I'll talk about kind of what I do when I run, if that's cool.
Yeah, go for it. Here, you take it.
So different people do different things when they're running, and sometimes I run with nothing just to enjoy the beauty. Last probably year and a half or so, I've gotten into just listening to audiobooks.
Yeah.
And especially on a streak natured running style that I do, it can get redundant.
Yeah.
And so
You're putting in a lot of miles.
so I find that like audiobooks just helps me get lost to the point that I'm like, I may not remember having run like a quarter mile or, just because it's like when you're in a car and you're driving to the same place you drive every day, you tend to not remember what you did at the last stoplight.
Do you think through teaching and the lesson plan while you're even running, or do you find this as a complete release for you?
No, I definitely have written lesson plans in my head. I definitely have solved problems
Yeah.
and what I need to kind of come back to the classroom with, kind of recalibrate our culture. So yeah, it definitely, like, for me, like, a lot of magical things have happened in solving problems and coming up with better ideas for how to present a topic.
All right, so we just wrapped up running, slowing Ryan down, but finished our run. As we kind of stopped, we just kind of collided with people, and that's the point of all this: is you get out in the community, you run great trails, you take new routes, you meet new people, and we just kind of struck up a conversation. Steven and I actually had bumped into each other probably by Wednesday, but didn't even know it. And so here we collided with each other again, strike up a conversation, and we've exchanged numbers, and we're gonna go run another time together. So
get some more miles in.
yeah.
Well, they're doing something amazing for this community. So yeah, this is
Yeah.
what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's about meeting new people and new experiences.
So they're gonna go do their 5 miles. Ryan and I are done for the day. We're gonna be out. So next time we'll learn a little bit more about who runs this community. Take care. Thanks, man. Yeah.
It's very nice.
Enjoy your run.
Really awesome.